auto safety, and one advocacy group's demand that the government begin a massive recall of certain older Jeep Grand Cherokees. The possible recall could affect an estimated 2.2 million vehicles on the road today. The group says it has a tape that shows how the placement of the fuel tank in these vehicles makes the tank vulnerable in rear-end crashes, with potentially fatal results. Here's Lisa Stark.
February 2007, a fiery crash on a New Jersey highway. Susan Klein, wife and mother of two, killed when her Jeep Grand Cherokee was struck from behind and burst into flames.
Imagine somebody that you'd been with, that you loved dearly for 33 years, being burned to death. It's just not a good picture.
Her husband Tom, raising their kids on his own, spoke to ABC station WTVD.
I can't think of a worse situation. Nothing can compare to this.
Susan Klein is just one of at least 55 people who have died in fiery crashes involving 1993 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokees, according to the Center for Auto Safety. Crashes where fire was, quote, the most harmful factor.
There's a lot of other people out there who are driving these vehicles who are just as naive as I was. That they're driving down the road and they're thinking that it's a perfectly safe vehicle.
According to safety advocates, the danger lies in the position of the plastic fuel tank behind the rear axle.
If you put a tank in the rear behind the rear axle, you're going to have fires.
And why is that?
Because there's all sorts of sharp objects in there. The lines can come off. And what you have to do is prevent the gasoline from getting out of the tank.
Clarence Ditlow with the advocacy group, the Center for Auto Safety, says crash tests clearly show the risk. The tests were done for engineering students with the assistance of the Federal Highway Administration.
We see the car coming right in to the back of the Jeep, and the fuel tank is right behind the rear wheel.
And right what is
there,
that?
That's gasoline.
That's the fuel spilling out.
That's the fuel spilling out.
Erupting from the side is what Ditlow says is the fluid used to simulate gasoline in crash tests. And there was even a protective shield over this tank, which some models have.
So what happens when a car rear ends one of these older Jeep Grand Cherokees?
Well, what happens is we've seen in many tragic cases is that the tank is moved forward, is crumpled, and as the gasoline comes out, if there's any ignition source, a piece of iron scraping the road, you're going to have a catastrophic fire.
We asked Chrysler about this test. The automaker told us the test was, quote, 3 times as severe as the government standard. The company added that the vehicle meets or exceeds federal standards. Rear impacts resulting in fire are extremely rare and occur no more often in 93 to 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokee vehicles than in peer vehicles.
The government now has a body count. Why hasn't it recalled these vehicles, in your view?
That's the $64 question. I mean, the government goes through its procedure. It takes time, but while it's taking time, these crashes are occurring, and someone's going to die.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says it is actively investigating the vehicle's safety and, in fact, witnessed the crash test. Its own fatality reporting system concurs with the 55 deaths, where fire was listed as the most harmful event in those crashes. But NHTSA says we do not agree they were all related to a rear impact.
What is the remedy, though? If you're driving one of these, what's the remedy?
Well, unfortunately, there's nothing the average consumer can do.
But if there is a recall, Ditlow says there is something Chrysler can do.
Oh, what Chrysler can do is they can put a steel shield in, they can put a good check valve into the fuel tank.
Starting with the 2005 model, Chrysler moved the fuel tank forward in the Grand Cherokees. The company says that was to improve cargo space, not for safety reasons. But for Tom Klein, nothing will bring back his wife, Susan.
The whole accident and what happened and how it happened and the result of what happened is just horrific.
For Nightline, I'm Lisa Stark in Washington.